All right. So, good evening, everybody. This your girl Tiffany coming through right here live in effect. And tonight, I'm going to be doing a video about this. Anyways, I'm going to be doing a video called "Is it Buffoonery, Coonery, or Tomfoolery?" It's a series, but this one has to be done. Regarding to Michael Eric Dyson. So he made a comment about Joe Biden electing those in the position of power in the White House. And he talks about the diversity and try to compare it to Black America and reparation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some of the article and then I'm going to play the video, okay, where he did an interview with Don Lemon. So let me read the article so that I can give you guys a general background of what this topic is about. Okay, so as you can see, that's the article is politicofire.com. It says Michael Eric Dyson say Joe Biden paid the debt owed to Black Americans by picking a Black man for Secretary of Defense. Then he said CNN, Don Lemon, and his guests praised former Vice President Joe Biden for reportedly picking a Black man for Secretary of Defense because it was a way of paying the debt that he owed to Black Americans. Lemon was speaking to Progressive Minister Michael Eric Dyson when they both marveled at reports that Biden had picked retired Army General Lloyd Austin for the powerful position. Austin would be the first Black man to lead the Pentagon. This defense secretary thing is big with General Michael Austin. What do you think? Lemon asked, while getting the retired four-star general's name wrong. Oh, it's beautiful. Have you ever heard a president say before, I owe you? Dyson responded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video. That's what I'm going to do. And from there, I'm gonna give my comments afterward. So let's just see what the video is about. Give me a second. Okay. So here it is. All right, here's the video right here. Oh, hold on. No, that's not it. Okay, here it go down here.
Did I say something wrong? No? Oh, okay. I thought so. All right, so here's the breaking news tonight. Sources telling CNN, the president-elect Joe Biden will nominate retired General Lloyd Austin as his defense secretary. If confirmed, Austin would be the first Black man to lead the Department of Defense. Biden has been under pressure to diversify more of his top cabinet picks. The news comes in the same day that Biden announces his picks for key health jobs in his administration, nominating California Attorney General Javier Becerra to lead Health and Human Services, and tapping Vivek Murthy to step back into his old job as Surgeon General. So joining me now to discuss is Professor Michael Eric Dyson. He is the author of the brand new book, Long Time Coming, Reckoning with Race in America. So, did I say something wrong? No? Oh, okay. I thought talking in my ear. Sorry, I'm hearing things, Michael. You know, that's normal for me. I have voices in my head. It's my book saying, say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Long time coming, reckoning with race in America. So There you go. Let's talk some news of the day, though. This defense secretary thing is big with General Michael Austin. What do you think?
Oh, it's beautiful. Look, have you ever heard a president say before, I owe you, I owe you a debt, you hook me up, I'm hooking you up. I've never heard a president. I've studied presidential rhetoric. I've studied presidents' interactions with Black America. I've never heard that. And so the attempt to follow up and to follow through by President-elect Joe Biden is worthy of note. And I think been doing a very good job so far. You got to balance all the considerations of the competing interests that are vying for your time and representation. But I think Black people are well-deserved. And this choice of General Austin today is truly outstanding. I
got my Michaels out of context. As I said, I want to say Michael Lloyd Austin, and I said, but you get what I meant. His name is Lloyd Austin. I was talking to you, Michael.
Right.
So then with him, and then you have Javier Becerra. What do you think? Is he living up to his pledge? You believe, right?
Yeah, because if you compare him to other presidents in the last 30, 40 years, he's doing exceedingly well. I mean, he's not only living up to it, he put a Black woman in as vice president. And let's be honest, Don, I think all of us are thinking this in the back of our minds. He's put her in a pretty position to become potentially the first female president of the United States of America. He's already made a pledge to put a Black woman on the Supreme Court. No other president that I know has indicated that. So yeah, I think he's doing a heck of a job in terms of diversity.
What about Attorney General though? Because you think about what's happened, that's a key in terms of ensuring equal justice. George Floyd and police protests or what have you. What are you looking for in this role?
Look, I'm looking for somebody who is sensitive and who is open and who is honest and dedicated to understanding the predicaments of Black people. And look, Don, I'm not only interested, though I am, in Black faces in high places. I'm looking for equitable representation. We have a Black person on the Supreme Court, and most Black people would tell you that stroke of diversity does not represent the masses of Black people. So it takes more than a Black face in a high place. It takes a willingness to understand policy, the application of law to particular situations, and to understand the historic legacies of inequality that have prevented flourishing in this country.
Let's talk about your book, because I think you need one more copy up there on your bookshelf behind you, but that's okay.
Why you want to call me out like that? Why you want to call me out like that?
I got to keep it real. It's a series of letters where you write about the decades of racial violence that led to the protest movement this year. Is this a racial reckoning? Have Americans woken up to the systemic racism?
Well, you wake up and you go to sleep. That's why you have an alarm clock. You got to wake up again. The reality is George Floyd's death created a funereal atmosphere in America. And so many white brothers and sisters came to the funeral, grieved with us, mourned with us, said that we're going to get things better. But like most funerals, I'm 41. I've been in the ministry for 41 years. The time after people die, people gather around the family, they send their flowers and the like, but then they taper off. And so people tend to taper off. We have to remind people again that the need is still there. The reckoning must continue to happen, and we've got to address it. We've got to go from marching in the streets and protesting to what do we do about corporate America? How do we reorganize the logic of American democracy? How do we do it in your home? How do you make sure that the commitment you've had and the loyalty to this principle of Black Lives Matter translates into everyday existence?
That's a tall task when you're talking about. You mentioned earlier the Supreme Court and representational diversity, right? True diversity. It's a start, but we're a long way off in this country, especially considering what's happened over the last 4 years or so, and even before he became a candidate. I mean, he has been fueling racial division now from the White House for 4 years. The president-elect Biden says that he wants to heal America, but what does he need to do? Where does he start? Because there's so much anger, Michael. There's so much pain. It's hard to see how people are going to come together and really agree upon what racial justice really looks like.
That's a great point. First of all, don't be Donald Trump. Task done. Secondly, govern in a different way. Joe Biden is a calm-spirited human being who is able to bring a sense of comity and poise to this presidency to restore its decency and respect, but also to listen to human beings, to acknowledge in his own gut that Black people have suffered, that racial trauma is real in America. Here's a guy who's not in denying the legitimacy of those realities, but embracing them. And standing with Vice President Harris, I think we have in place a tandem, a duo that is capable of saying, let's lead with strategic intervention on these serious issues. Let's do some real policy work. Let's talk about disparities in sentencing and criminal justice systems. Let's talk about public education that is still victimized by resegregation. Let's talk about the economic disparity between the have-gots and the have-nots. And let's talk about how we can distribute wealth in such an equitable fashion that Black people who have been blocked out of the middle class because of lack of access to home ownership are regaining their footing in a culture that refuses to acknowledge our humanity. So with those principles and policies in place, that's at least the beginning.
Practically all of the successful Negroes in this country are of the uneducated type, or of that of Negroes who have had no formal education at all. The large majority of the Negroes who have put on the finishing touches of our best colleges are all but worthless in the development of their people. If after leaving school they have the opportunity to give out to Negro what traditions of the race would like to have it learned, such persons may thereby earn a living at teaching or preaching what they have been taught, but they never become a constructive force in the development of the race. When a Negro has finished his education in our school, then he has been equipped to begin the life of an Americanized or Europeanized white man. But before he steps from the threshold of his automata, he is told by his teachers that he must go back to his own people from whom he has been estranged by a vision of ideas which in his delusionment he will realize that he cannot attain. Give me a minute, you guys. Give me a minute, because I'm reading this for a reason. I'm reading this for a reason. There's a reason why I'm reading this book. The thought that the Negro is one thing and the white man another is the stock in trade argument of the Caucasian to justify segregation. Why then should the Negro blame the white man for doing what he himself does? These highly educated Negroes, however, fail to see that it is not the Negro who takes this position. The white man forces him to it and to extricate himself therefrom. The Negro leader must so deal with the situation as to develop in the segregated group the power with which they can elevate themselves. The differentness of races, moreover, is no evidence of superiority or of inferiority. This merely indicates that each race has certain gifts which the do not possess. It is by the development of these gifts that every race must justify its right to exist. Oh, When the Negro find himself deprived of influence in politics, therefore, and at the same time unprepared to participate in the higher function in the industrial development which this country begins to undergo, it soon became evident to him that he was losing ground in the basic things of life. He was spending his time studying about the things which he had been or might be, but he was learning little to help him to do better the task at hand. It was another segment in this book I wanted to read, but that's enough right there. The title, is it buffoonery? Is it coonery? Or is it tomfoolery? Maybe I need to go back and play the video. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But what I hear is delusionment. That's what I hear in this interview. You really believe that a man who was known for his mass incarceration bill in 1994 really is going to set the tone for Black America? I mean, do you really believe that? Do you honestly believe that? How gullible can't you be? How gullible can't you be to believe a man who signed the mass incarceration bill in 1994 that he's going to, and then the fact that Michael Dyson, and at one point in time, I respected this man a lot. I had a lot of respect for Michael Dyson. I really did. I really thought the man was very bright, but after watching this interview, it seems that he's not so bright. You honestly believe because Joe Biden elected a Secretary of Defense who happened to be a Black man, that it's his repayment and the debt to Black America. Do you know how many people been elected into higher position and still it didn't do nothing for Black people as a collective? I mean, it was an opportunity to show that we can get into politics or engage into it, but it's never a repayment. It's never a debt. It's not a replacement for reparation. For past 400 years, being in this country, working for free, and not being identified or acknowledged as Americans until after the Civil War, and not even earn citizenship until after the Civil Rights Movement and the Voting Acts. After going all those trials and tribulation and the adversity in this country, you honestly believe that the debt was owed to us by electing a Secretary of Defense. You honestly believe that shit, right? Coonery is on both sides. See, I don't want to hear nothing about because a Black person who is a Republican and who's bootlicking a white Republican being a coon. I don't want to hear about that, because guess what? You got a black person who is a Democrat and who is bootlicking a white Democrat, especially a one that is known for their past racism. They're just as much of a coon as a tomfoolery and as a buffoon, just like that black Republican. It's no different. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, well, because this black person is a Republican, they are a bunch of coons. Well, guess what? You got black people that's Democrat, that's a bunch of damn coons. It ain't no different. So you got another white supremacist in office. Just because he put all these black people or tried to do this diversity thing doesn't mean shit. It doesn't solve the economic problem. It doesn't solve the racial wealth gap. It doesn't solve none of that shit. They've been electing black people in position of power for years. They've been electing black people in the House of Representatives for years. What are you saying? Okay, so he got Kamala Harris. That don't do us no good, because guess what? This woman has a history. She was known for locking up parents over marijuana because kids are skipping school. So she has a bad history, a bad record. So what point are you trying to make? I mean, are you trying to tell our people that we should accept what Joe Biden is doing as a repayment to Black America? And we shouldn't expect nothing else from him. Is that what you're saying? We shouldn't expect nothing else from Joe Biden except the fact that he's electing all these black folks in the White House. That does us no good. That's a slap to our face. I'm all for black accomplishment. I'm all for black people getting to becoming successful in this country. I'm all for that. But don't ever try to put that as a repayment for what we had to go through. That is nothing. It's a good thing, but it's nothing. It doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean nothing to that black man in the street that's trying to figure out how to feed his goddamn family. It doesn't mean nothing to somebody that's been laid off. It doesn't mean nothing to anybody that's getting their hours cut or who has been evicted. It doesn't mean anything to anybody that dealt with police brutality and mass incarceration. That don't mean shit. It don't matter if you got a black man in the motherfucking office. What's their agenda? What is their goal? That's the main thing. Because at this point, you could put a black face all you want to, but if you ain't got no type of policies and agenda behind that shit, then what's the purpose of putting somebody as black or Hispanic or whatever in the office if they ain't got no damn policies to back them up? That don't mean shit. That Secretary of Defense, what is his agenda? What is he going to do? How is he going to represent those who are an oppressed group, those who are the so-called minority? What is his agenda? Don't just sit here and tell the guy, Secretary of Defense in the office, that that's a repayment for us. That ain't shit. That don't mean shit. And you know what? Like I said, I'm so sick and tired. I'm getting to the point where I'm not going to want to vote anymore because I'm so tired of every time I look at my mailbox, I get these damn flyers and it says Democrat. It always got different people, but they always represent a Democratic Party. If you really want people to vote, why don't you get people to learn how to think? Why don't you get people to look at policies first and not just go off of some type of political parties? You're limiting people's option. And that's the part I do not like. See, as Black folk, we're being told who to vote for and not how to vote. I'm going to say it again. We've been told who to vote and not how to vote. And that's the damn problem. We've been living under false hope, especially those by the Democratic Party, to believe that because somebody is Democrat, they're supposed to automatically represent us. It's not always the damn case. That don't mean shit. Okay, you telling me they Democrat and so motherfucking what? So motherfucking what? Like, stop playing games with people's mind. And I can't believe how many people are so fucking gullible. And I notice this pattern a lot with our community. The first time we hear about somebody is a Democrat, we automatically jump on board. We jump up and say, that's what we're doing. We're not thinking. We're not asking questions. We're not wondering. We automatically jump on board when somebody's a Democrat, but assume that if somebody's a Republican or come from another party, that they're just bad people. Oh, they don't have good intentions. Well, let me tell you something. It don't matter what side of the party they on. Everybody ain't got good intentions. So once again, we have not been taught how to damn vote, but who to vote for and what to vote, not how to vote. And you got motherfuckers like Eric Dyson. This motherfucker right here. And these two motherfuckers, this motherfucker right here, fuck this nigga over here. Fuck this motherfucker. Fuck Don Lemon. But you got people like Eric Dyson sitting up here making stupid ass comments, sound like a bootlicking Uncle Tom. That's what he is. He's a bootlicking ass motherfucker. He's a buffoon. He's a buffoon. And tomfoolery. He telling you that Joe Biden is already paying reparation by electing officials in the White House. That don't mean shit. That don't mean shit. It don't mean nothing. Because we done had Democrats, we done had Republicans, and ain't much change in our community. Ain't much change. But then you want people to go out there and vote. So the question is, for those who, what should they vote for? And how should they go about voting? Because people are losing hope. You know what? I want to play a segment from this show called Blackish. I want to play this segment only because I like what this guy had said. I like the fact that Anthony Anderson character, Dre, he said something that hit close to home, that made a lot of sense. I'm going to post that video up. Just give me a few moments, please. Okay.
Right? Yeah, you have had nothing to say about any.
Hold on. I'm about to play the video. Give me a second. Okay, let me get the video up. Because I want to play this video. Because it's going to hit where I'm going with this. It's going to go into the same direction as far as what I'm talking about right now. All right, so this show comes from Blackish, right? And Blackish is one of my favorite shows to watch. Basically, they get into the concept about politics, social issues, and economics. Okay, so in this segment, Dre finds out that Donald Trump becomes president or is elected as a president, but his colleagues, they don't like it and they're worried about what Trump about to do. But he said something that was very powerful. So watch this segment. Hold on, give me a second. Make sure I play it. Let me not forget the audio, because I gotta put the audio on here so y'all can hear it.
No, hold on. What's so funny, Dre? Yeah, you have had nothing to say about any of this all day. Why do you not care about what's happening to our country?
What did you say to me? You don't think I care about this country? I love this.
No, hold on. What's so funny, Dre? Yeah, you have had nothing to say about any of this all day. Why do you not care about what's happening to our country?
What did you say to me? You don't think I care about this country? I love this country, even though at times it doesn't love me back. For my whole life, my parents, my grandparents, me, for most Black people, this system has never worked for us.
Southern trees.
But we still play ball. Tried to do our best to live by the rules, even though we knew they would never work out in our favor.
Strange fruit.
Had to live in neighborhoods that you wouldn't drive through. Send our kids to schools with books so beat up you couldn't read them. Work jobs that you wouldn't even consider in your nightmares.
And blood at the roots.
Black people wake up every day believing that our lives are gonna change, even though everything around us says it's not.
Southern breeze.
Truth be told, you ask most Black people and they tell you that no matter who won this election, they didn't expect the hood to get better.
Strange fruit.
But they still voted because that's what you're supposed to do. You think I'm not sad that Hillary didn't win? That I'm not terrified about what Trump's about to do? I'm used to things not going my way. I'm sorry that you're not, and it's blowing your mind. So excuse me if I get a little offended because I didn't see all of this outrage when everything was happening to all of my people since we were stuffed on boats in chains. I love this country as much, if not more, than you do, and don't you ever forget that.
I think I need to play that video again. Hold on.
Hold on. What's so funny, Dre? Yeah, you have had nothing to say about any of this all day. Why do you not care about what's happening to our country?
What did you say to me? You don't think I care about this country? I love this country, even though at times it doesn't love me back. For my whole life, my parents, my grandparents, me, for most Black people, this system has never worked for us.
Southern trees.
But we still play ball. Tried to do our best to live by the rules, even though we knew they would never work out in our favor.
Strange fruit.
Had to live in neighborhoods that you wouldn't drive through. Send our kids to schools with books so beat up you couldn't read them. Work jobs that you wouldn't even consider in your nightmares.
And blood at the roots.
Black people wake up every day believing that our lives are gonna change, even though everything around us says it's not.
Southern breeze.
Truth be told, you ask most Black people and they tell you that no matter who won this election, they didn't expect the hood to get better.
Strange fruit.
But they still voted because that's what you're supposed to do. You think I'm not sad that Hillary didn't win? That I'm not terrified about what Trump's about to do? I'm used to things not going my way. I'm sorry that you're not, and it's blowing your mind. So excuse me if I get a little offended because I didn't see all of this outrage when everything was happening to all of my people since we were stuffed on boats in chains. I love this country as much, if not more, than you do, and don't you ever forget that.
Did you hear that? He said the system has not did anything for Black people. No, he basically said the system have failed Black people. He acknowledged that in the beginning of the video, how the system failed us. And also, he said, I'm so used of things not going my way. And he said, what was all the outrage at when my people were stuffed on boats? So the way that this man feels, for the most part, is how I feel. I'm so used to shit not going my goddamn way. What more do I really expect from this country? What more do I expect from either side? And he also mentioned in the video, if you ask most Black people, it don't make a difference who you vote for. It ain't gonna change the crisis that's going on in the hood. And that's true. It don't matter who you vote for. It's not gonna change much, which is why many don't vote. Because it's like, what's the purpose? You're gonna be fed with a bunch of false ass hope and promises. You're going to be fed with a bunch of hope and promises. A bunch of false ones. You're going to be told so many lies. So don't y'all get so caught up on the fact that just because you got a Democrat, a white supremacy that's a liberal in the office, that it's automatically gonna change things for us. Don't forget that shit. Don't forget the history. Don't get too comfortable. Don't put too much hope. Because guess what? It's not gonna change much. It's not going to change. But we ain't forgot. Our people didn't forget about this man signing a mass incarceration bill to have your ass locked up. In the 90s. A lot of children, their fathers and mothers, but particularly most black men, they were locked up in numbers, a lot of them. And a lot of kids were forced to grow up without their fathers. So no, I'm not thrilled by it. And no, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. See, you're not going to sit up here and try to appeal to my emotions, appeal to adorn. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do it with me. I am not going for the bullshit. I don't give a damn what party a person represents. So I said, and I will say this again, unapologetically. Just like you got coons who are black Republicans and who is licking the boot off of these white Republicans, you got them in the black Democrats who are licking the boots off these white Democrats. And that's a fact. That's a fact. So for me, my stance on Michael Dyson, he's a bootlicking. He's a bootlicking ass Negro. You worship the ground on Joe Biden, but you forgot that Joe Biden, and it's funny that he talked about the mass incarceration because it's the same man that has your people locked up. You know, that's why I don't pay attention to people like him or Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson. I don't listen to the Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton or the Michael Dysons or even the Carnell West. Because that's nothing you can say to me. And also, I want to play another video by this sister who just recently made her transition about a year ago. Dr. Julia Hare. I'm going to play this one last video. And then after that, I'm done. I'm going to play this video because when we talk about shit, we're not electing a leader. We're not saying, all right, we're going to put you in a position to represent us or to represent the people in general. We are giving those who really don't have people's best interests at heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this video by this sister. All right, so this is Dr. Julia Hare back in 2007. And she had passed away in 2019.
But on a serious note.
All right, so. All right, so I'm about to go ahead and play this video. And yes, I'm going to play it all the way through.
serious note, to the extent that black relationships have survived as they have, what say you about that 400 years later?
It is amazing that black relationships have lasted for 400 years. They lasted this morning. They're also going to last tonight, and you may not even know the person to whom you're going to have the relationship with. But they do tend to go over. Relationships do go over like that. And as we move into what has happened to this, I know that our relationships sometimes really reach a low ebb. That's one of the reasons why we wrote the book, How to Find and Keep a BMW, a Black Man Working. That was spelled out in there. It's just very serious. Because our relationships didn't start yesterday or last week. It also started 400 years ago when those 19 persons were here. And I want you to remember something very important that one of our by any means necessary power brokers told us, and that was Malcolm X. He said, if we can only remember that you didn't land at Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on you. And it's very essential that we kind of keep this in place. And knowing that these are the things that happen, then we have to move more to change it. See, we have a system that would not like to see black males and black females together. They would not like to see that happening at all. Because once we come together, they understand the power of the strength of the black woman, the queen of the universe. They know that, her strength. They also know the power of the black male, the warrior, if he would lose, who will protect also his family and things that need to be done. And because they understand that if our relationships are together, then they will lose. But if our relationships are torn up, then we can forever be treated in certain ways by the oppressors. That's why they gave us something called integration, which is nothing but the illusion of illusion. They gave us this. They actually gave a statement. And when they gave that statement, it meant that they could go right into your homes. They went into the black homes now, the powers that be, and told us that you cannot discipline your children anymore. And if you discipline your children, you will go into jail. It's this kind of thing they told us. Now, this is amazing that, you know, the black parents who in Africa, that was out of the question. Some social worker come in there saying you can't discipline your children, the social worker would disappear. As you all know, this kind of thing would go on. You would be sitting in a place like this, and all you had to do was act up and do something wrong, and all your mother had to do was to glance in your direction. Y'all remember that? And you remember that the glance meant, don't let me have to get up and come over there. And every once in a while in the black family, there was a fool who would challenge the glance. And if you could get home over the foot, over the ironing cart, over whatever, you were sent to the backyard to get something off the peach tree. And if you brought something in that was too short, God forbid that you would do something like that. But then it got so terrible in frightening us. This is why we got to take this back. And this is the best part of our action plan, is to reclaim the minds of our children. Because then they went into the public schools and took discipline out of there. So when we acted up in there, they put our boys, our black men, into something called special ed classes. And as you know, those special ed classes are nothing but holding cells until they can go to the state prison. But this is what they did. And then, the one thing that they knew, that if we can put them in prison, if we can have them convicted for a felony, then once they get out of prison, they cannot get a job because of that. They cannot get the job. And then if they happen to eke out and find a job, then they have to pay taxes on a job, yet they cannot vote. And I call that taxation without representation. That's what we're looking at. And if one of the things that we would learn to do, they did a grand thing when they took that discipline away from us, because when they made our parents afraid to discipline the children, then what happened? We found out that the teachers were afraid of the principals were scared of the superintendent was scared of the school board was scared of the parents were scared of the children, and the children ain't scared of nobody. And now for the last statement, the reason why we're so pleased to have the covenant, it makes all of this type foolishness stop. It's going on under Angela Glover in San Francisco. It's all over the country, and they're all saying we finally have a movement where we can take back over the minds of our children. And the first thing we got to take over, the covenant taught us that we do not have to have black leaders anymore. It told us because everyone in this room is empowered to be a black leader. This room. Because see, right now, these people that you're calling black leaders are not what they used to be with Marcus Garvey's day. They're not what they used to be back in the days of W.E.B. Du Bois or Martin Luther King. Those were the people that got us together and planted a strategy, and we're not looking for fame. But today's black leaders, I'm afraid, have become leading blacks. And don't ever confuse leading blacks with black leaders. Let me tell you why you don't do that. One of the reasons you don't confuse them, black leaders are chosen by you. They're chosen by the people they're going to lead. They're chosen by us. But let me tell you about the leading blacks. The leading blacks are chosen by the media. Leading blacks are chosen by ABC, all broadcasting Caucasians.
Should I stop her or let her go?
Now, this is the last one. Leading blacks are also chosen by NBC. Nothing broadcasting but Caucasians. And the rest are chosen by CBS, the Caucasian broadcasting system. And when you allow leaders to be chosen by the media that's owned by the corporations, when you get ready to change your lives, when you get ready to demonstrate, when you get ready to march, when you get ready to come to the covenant, when you get ready to endorse and make Tavis one of our next elected officials, but what happens? Then you must take the time to carefully watch and see what the leading blacks are doing, because that's when the leading blacks sneak into the door to the corporations, and they will tell the corporations, oh, we know how to go and put them down. We know how to get you some real affirmative action Negroes to come in here and work. We know how to do that. But at the end of the day, the leading blacks lead the corporations, and the leading blacks have gotten paid while we have gotten played.
Did you hear that? That was from the late Dr. Julia Hare, who was the wife of Dr. Nathan Hare. She said it. She said it very well. The leading black versus black leaders. The black leaders are chosen by the people. The leading blacks are chosen by the media. And to say this, Michael Eric Dyson, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, even Cornel West, they are chosen by the media. And now, I don't hate those brothers at all, but let's just keep it real. They chosen by the media. They're chosen to calm black people down, to ease everything. Right? That's who they're chosen by, the leaders. The media has made the choice of putting somebody like Michael Dyson on television. That's what they have done. Put somebody like Don Lemon on television. That's what they have done. That's the media's representation. That's who they want represent us, or speaking to the black community. But you know what? I'm going to end this video with that being said. So I don't know if this video is still going to be around. Only reason why I'm saying that because there's some copyright issues going on. So regard to one of the videos that I played. So hopefully I'll still have this video up. And hopefully it doesn't affect my channel. It doesn't hinder me from posting in the near future. I hope not. But anyways, for those of you that tune in, thank you very much. And for those of you that subscribe to the channel, I appreciate that a lot. So make sure you hit the notification bell and make sure you share this channel, and we'll go from there. All right. So with that being said, you guys take it easy. And until next time, may peace and power elevation be to all of you. And it's your girl, Tiffany, and I'm out. Peace.